let's go over the build first, and then we'll talk about the actual ship in real life, because I'm probably never going to make a realistic model of this thing. This is my third of the Chibimaru ship series, and I gotta say this is the most difficult one I've come across so far. I'll show the other two later. These planes aren't actually glued on. I just wanted to show three. There's three different kinds, and you get three of each, so you get a total of 9 airplanes that you can jam on this thing if you want. I didn't actually paint the nose cone accurately. It's a cartoon ship, right? So I don't care so much. I did skip most of the stickers. The only sticker I really used for the paper kind was the Japanese flag there. The rest used these dots. They're decals, and these other things I just painted. I hand painted the deck, and there are decals with the white stripes. Yeah, you do get a few extras of the large decal red dots that go on the wings of the airplanes, and I did have to use an extra one because I messed one up. It peeled off. You do have 4 anti-aircraft cannons here as spares, which is good because these are very thin, easy to break cannons. And another platform, which is probably used for a different type of carrier. Okay, and then again, the other airplanes. This is a very fragile piece. It's going to be really difficult for me to ship this back to where I live, but I didn't glue in these towers. I'm definitely going to remove those. So, boy, starting with the directions, I guess. The directions all make sense and everything. It's just constructing it is definitely a pain. So starting with the hull, there's some grooves here, and you can see the plastic stretched out quite a bit. This is a giant stress mark. I put some brown paint wash over it, but it still looks very stressed. And that happened on both sides. This one's not as visible, but so that's kind of annoying because that was just me pushing that part in. Before it looked fine, but once I pushed those parts in, somehow it stressed out that thing. So be careful of that. I wouldn't recommend you actually install the propellers or the rudders until you're finished because I think you'll break them building the rest of the hull up. In fact, I also wouldn't recommend you put this flagpole in until the very end. I managed to break it off trying to build the rest of it. So certain parts of the instructions I would leave to the very end. I almost wish you could put all these anti-aircraft cannons in at the end also. You could if you drilled out all the holes, but it's a very tight fit. So tight that I actually broke off one of the pegs of this cannon. See here, here's the peg on the bottom of one. I broke it off just trying to wiggle it into the hole. So that's how tight those things are. I mean, nothing of this will fall apart easily because it is so tight, but I think you're going to risk breaking the actual parts because a lot of the holes are so tight. The deck was particularly difficult. There's 2 large pegs right around there, and those were having a hard time finding their mating holes. So I had to file out the mating holes before I could get this deck to lay down evenly. Boy. So I would also recommend any sort of paint wash, or at least for the windows. The Tamiya panel liner I have, the black. I do all this before you put any sort of matte clear coat or any clear coat over this thing. So I just used, a nib. What are they called? I don't know. It's like a fountain pen kind of thing. One of these things. And I just, put it into each. Any extra I wiped off very quickly with a cotton bud. And then I still managed to put a brown paint wash over like all the crease areas just to bring out those details. And you can see there's a ton of details on this thing. So yeah, it's quite cool, openings, vents, even the under support members of all these platforms and stuff like that. Very neat. Okay, the front end, a few portholes, even a whole stairwell system there. This is gold paint. It could be a sticker, but I know all the stickers would just peel off, so I would recommend paint. Okay, this side you'll notice it's asymmetric. This side has the exhaust on it. Okay, and it has a giant cannon on that side, but it's not on this side. Whatever these aerial mounts here, these two are identical, but they're different from the ones on the other side. So you'll see my control island. I guess it's not pushed in all the way. Again, some of the holes are really tight, so I don't want to glue that down until I get back to my house, you know, because it'll just break during shipping. All right, now those are the main issues I had, I guess, putting it together. You really got to file a lot of the holes open or risk breaking the part. Now, the scary one was the actual water slide decal. Sorry, I keep losing focus. These two long lines were one decal, and they were attached to this circle and those lines and this dotted line. So this is a decal this long, and there's clear containing this to that. This is all clear in here. It's a decal, and pleasantly, it's such a very thin decal that it actually sucked down into all the panel gaps, and you can't even really tell there's a decal there. See, because the decal is so thin. But the downside of it is you're probably gonna mess it up. It is a complete miracle I was able to put this decal on in this well. I wouldn't say it's perfectly straight, the lines, but I am just genuinely shocked that I was able to put that decal down because it was so thin. And it did manage to break in spots here and stuff like that. There's also a spot somewhere, maybe back there, I broke it. So be careful. It's a real shame they don't give you two sets of decals because, boy, that is really a daunting task. So again, you could still use, you could skip all that hardship and just plop that on there. But the deck is three-dimensional, so the paper is not going to stick down. See, this is raised. There's a lot of raised things on this deck, and then there's a lot of deep creases, like this has a black paint wash in it. So the paper sticker's not going to stay there for long. So it took a long time. I would guess it took over 10 hours for me to build this thing. So even though it's a deformed ship, vehicle, whatever you want to call it, there's still a lot of parts and a lot of details, so it takes time. I did use a decal softener on all of them, and particularly back here because there is like a diamond plate pattern back here, so you can see some of it coming through after I softened the decal. And then all after that was done, I did matte clear coat everything because those will definitely peel up. Same with the airplanes. I didn't use decal adhesive, and a bunch of these dots peeled off because this adhesive wasn't very strong on the decals, or maybe there was none. So you really have to use like some sort of I used Mr. Mark setter, to set these decals, keep them from sliding around or peeling off. And then I used softener as well to really help them try to sink into the panel gaps. And then I clear coated these airplanes because without it, I know those decals are going to fall off. So keep that in mind. While it's here, this is a torpedo bomber, as you can see. I painted the bottom and stuff. I forget what it is. I don't know my Japanese airplanes. Other than the Zero, I think this is a Mitsubishi Zero, and it's got some sort of bomb on there. And then there's a third type of aircraft, and this is a dive bomber, and you can see, it's a bomb, not a torpedo. So it's cool that you have three different airplanes. All right, boy. So, yeah, that's it. It's pretty straightforward. It's just that you're going to have to probably file open a bunch of holes, and it's questionable if you want to put these delicate parts, like the flagpole and these turrets, on before or after. So it's a tough call. I don't know what to say. You could slow down my fast forwarded build video and decide for yourself. But I gotta say, the finished product is really cool looking. There's a whole bunch of details going on here. I like how it has a lot of parts considering what it is, right? It literally has girder supports here and stuff, and so many portholes and all that stuff. Okay, let me get this spinning and we'll learn a little bit about the real history of this thing. So here you can see it next to the Issei battleship and the Akizuki destroyer. So the destroyer is obviously quite big for what it is, but it's nice to see these two are generally the same size. I believe this was built on top of a battleship hull because it still has like battleship cannons on the side, kind of like similar to that, right? So, yeah. This was, the early days of aircraft carrier design, and they're still trying to figure things out. There were a lot of shortcomings in this particular design because, no one really understood the full purpose or the full scale benefits of an aircraft carrier. But this particular Kaga played a significant role for the Japanese during World War II. So I'm reading, here Wikipedia. First, the name itself comes from a province in old Japan. The cost to make this ship was 53 million yen, or around $37 million. I don't know what money that is. Maybe that's probably like 1920 money when they first started building this ship. The ship was actually commissioned in 1929, so it took 9 years to build. And then it was finally scuttled in 1942 after airplanes from the USS Enterprise landed several bombs on the thing, making it worthless, and they decided to sink the ship so it wouldn't fall into the U.S. hands. But it did play roles in the invasion of China. It also played a significant role in the Pearl Harbor and also the Battle of Midway. So the Battle of Midway is pretty much when the Japanese started to lose the war because they lost most of their carriers there, including this one. All right, so let's see. After 1935's modernization, when I say modernization, this was originally a two-deck hull. They had a landing platform and a takeoff platform, but then later on they just made it one platform, like a more modern aircraft carrier. So it was 38,200 long tons. The length was almost 250 meters. The beam was almost 33 meters wide. So pretty big ship, of course, right? 4 steam turbines powering the thing. It could go 28 knots, or around 52 kilometers per hour, or 32 miles per hour. And then it could hold, let's see, around 90 airplanes in total after its reconstruction. So actually now Wikipedia is telling me the front airplanes, those are Zeros. Then the Aichi D3A is one of the other ones. I forget which one. And the other one is Nakajima B5Ns. I think the D3As are the dive bombers. So I think those are the white planes in the back. And the Nakajima B5Ns are the torpedo bombers, the green ones. So I think it's cool that Fujimi gave the loadout that was actually used by this aircraft carrier. Alright, so I guess that's all I care to learn off Wikipedia. You gotta take it with a grain of salt. I don't write those articles. I wasn't around during World War II, so who knows? Neither were these article writers. But as far as a model kit goes, it looks cool. Here's the deformation in comparison. Look how long the real plane is. All this, it's just a long aircraft carrier. And then just look how goofy short this thing is now. I think it's fantastic. I really like these things. So stay tuned because I'm going to build some more of these Fujimi model kits. Thanks for watching. We'll see you. Happy sailing.